again. Fire drill can go anytime, so don't worry, don't be panic. Just stay here. It can go anytime between, I think, 10 to 11, we've been informed. So just stay calm and we will spend that moment. Maybe it's a good moment to practice Matta meditation. It's just a sound only, right? Okay. All right. So our morning Dhamma talk, Dhamma sharing. Why Matta meditation? Actually, there was a small typo here. It was given as Metta, but it's Matta meditation in the timetable. So, as you can see here, when I see, I just see. When I hear, I just hear. When I sense, I just sense. When I think, I just think. This is the idea. So the most important thing here is that not making stories, not making labeling, interpreting. This is what is happening. But I want to tell you that there is something that we have to understand, because sometimes it's very natural to come up with stories, and we may need that story as well in a way. So we have to separate out those moments and this particular moment where we practice Matta meditation. This is what we saw in the sutta. The Buddha is asking Bāhiya Chiriya, this man, Ditte Ditta Mattang, when you see, just see. Sute Sutta Mattang, when you hear, just hear. Mute Mutta Mattang, when you sense, just sense. Actually, sense here means the rest of the sense faculties, I would say, what you call smell, touch and all that. They are all under this sense, except consciousness. And when you think, viññāte viññāta mattang. When you think, just think. So the Pali word matta is given at the end of all these phrases. You can see matta, matta, matta. So matta here means only. What's the meaning of matta? Only. You only see, only hear, only sense, only think, nothing else. But unfortunately, what's happening to us is we not only see, but also create stories. Maybe it's natural, sometimes it's with effort. Sometimes there are people who think, I want to make a story as well. It's in addition to that natural story. So anyways, we don't normally see. In our usual life, we add stories, right? And then throughout this Matta meditation, what we see is that through this advice, we are trying to nail that down to for that particular activity only. When I see, I only see. I'm not bringing stories to what I see. When I hear, I only hear. I'm not bringing up any stories to that hearing. When I sense, I only sense. I don't bring any stories, labeling, interpreting to that particular sensing, what I'm feeling. When I think, that's happening, the cognition process, I only think. Right? And the Buddha also added onto this advice something different, very important to conclude. Bāhiya Chiriya, if you can relate to experience in this way. What is this experience? May I know what is this experience? Sensory experience. That means our experience in processing the objects that are coming onto our senses. This experience, right? So now the Buddha is asking Bāhiya Chiriya to bring this Matta meditation strategy onto any experience, any sensory experience. So how many sensory experiences we may go through? Eye experience. We can say that way. Sight experience, sound experience, smell experience, taste experience, touch experience, and thought experience. Right? So if Bāhiya Daruchiriya, if you can bring this understanding, what Matta, you make it only to Matta. You only see, only hear, only sense, only think, then what will happen to you? Without getting caught up in it. So we get normally caught up in that experience. Actually, what are the things that are happening inside an experience according to Buddhism? Now let's say, yes, I'm having sounds, I'm having sights, I'm having smell, I'm having taste, I'm having touch, I'm having thoughts. But behind the scene, in the larger, broader sense, what's happening? It's like a hardware in a computer. We only look at software part, applications and all that. This is what we see. But the hardware part, what's largely happening behind the scene of our sensory experience? Sanya and Vedana. Only these two. Perceptions and feelings. That's why the Buddha said in Dhammapada, Mano Pubbangama Dhamma. Those Dhammas are not teachings of the Buddha. I think, you know this stanza, right? How many of you know this stanza? Mano Pubbangama Dhamma, Mano Setta Manomaya. How many of you know? Some of you know, some of you don't know. Why is it? Perhaps you may not know that the handbook of Buddhists is Dhammapada. Dhammapada is the handbook of Buddhists, just like Holy Quran is going to be the handbook to devoted Muslims. And Bhagavad Gita is going to be the handbook to the devoted Hindus. Right? They say handbook of Buddhists is not Tripitaka, Dhammapada. Why? Dhammapada brings everything into one place. The sutta idea. Actually, Dhammapada stanzas are from suttas. So in this second stanzas, Buddha says, Mano Pubbangama Dhamma. All our experiences are preceded by the mind. Mind is not important. What is important is how does mind process the sanya and vedana. That's the most important thing. Mind is just a place. Everybody has the mind. But what about everybody's sanya and vedana? That's a problem. How are they perceiving? How are they then making it to a feeling? How do they feel them? So then, without getting caught up in it means, how can someone healthily, holistically process perceptions and feelings? So the Matta Meditation directs to how to process sanya vedana in a better way, right? Better than how we used to do it. Are perceptions very important to us? They are more important than vedana. Why? Vedana are the affective quality of the perceptions. The sensible, affective quality of the perception. Now you might say, I have a very bad day yesterday. Just imagine, huh? And then why you are having a bad day? You know everything, right? You know how to spend the day, but I have a bad memory. What is that bad memory? Sanya. Something is popping up in my mind. Sanya. I'm very insecure in my life, health issues, uncertainty, family members, work. If nothing, then whole world, what's happening to the whole world? What are they? Sanya. So sanya must be properly managed. Then vedana will be automatically okay. Because we know how to channel the sanya at that point. So I think it's very important then at that point, matta, bringing matta into our sensory experience, which I said earlier. So then we are not getting caught up in it. At the same time, the Buddha is reminding Bāhiya Daruchiriya, you also will not identify with those stories, labeling, interpretations. That's also a very good thing. Yes, we have to identify. Like if I ask you here, is there somebody called XYZ, please self-identify yourself. Then you will identify yourself. But the thing is, when we do the identification, perhaps we may add stories, labeling into that. So without getting caught up, without identifying, because you know what is Matta Meditation, you know how to process your sanya vedana. How do you know? You only process that thought, process that sight, process that sound, you process that sensing, not with stories, not with labeling, not with interpretations. Then what will happen? Bāhiya Daruchiriya. You will not cling to anything in the world. Once I make my own story, then I cling to this world. What world is that? May I know what is this world? Huh? Ansara. What is this world? Do you remember there was a man called Rohitassa? This is a sutta in Anguttara Nikaya. This Rohitassa became a deva. Before, he was a powerful ascetic who can skywalk. So he went to see the Shakyamuni Buddha and asked Shakyamuni Buddha, told him that Bhante, I was a powerful Hindu ascetic before I was a deva like just now. And I want to share with you my experience. And I wanted to go from one place to the other place of this universe. I wanted to travel, that kind of universal traveling. Now you are globally traveling from one continent to the other continent. But this ascetic wants to travel from one place of the universe to the other place of the universe. So he's explaining under Rohitassa Sutta the velocity of that particular skywalking, how much I accelerated in my skywalking process. So my one foot was in the Eastern Ocean and the other foot was in the Western Ocean. I mean, don't get misunderstood with Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean, Indian, South China Sea. This is much, much bigger than those oceans. The universal seas. Right? So then, what happened? I just stopped for eating and washrooms and all that in his own way. Halfway of the journey, I passed away. And the Buddha said, look, you can't go to the end of the universe. That's a futile work. And I'm not discouraging those scientists who want to go to the end of the world. They might do their experimental research. Then the Buddha said, the real world, so-called universe, is happening within our body, 1 foot, what you call body, 1 fathom body with consciousness. Right? Actually, perception, he said, sasanyam. And I tell you, I say that dukkha, the first noble truth, the noble truth on dukkha, the noble truth on the cause of the dukkha, the noble truth on the cessation of the dukkha, the noble truth that tells us the path which leads to the cessation of dukkha, they all lie within that 1 fathom body with consciousness along with perception. So that means everything is here. Nibbana is here. Nibbana is not in the temple. Right? But we are fogged by that ignorance. We are clouded by that ignorance. And the real, actually, physical world may be outside, but the true universe is inside. So that is the world which the Buddha is meaning here. So when you do the Matta with regard to your Sanya Vedana sensory experience, you won't cling to anything with regard to this world you are constructing through your Panchakanda and all this experience. Actually, the bigger world that we are creating is our own world with regard to what's happening outside, not the physical world. Physical world can be finite, but the mental world we are creating may be very infinite, very undefined sometimes. Then let's say, for instance, if you are asked by someone, how much lobha do you have? You have no answer to answer that question. How much jealousy do you have? I don't know. But if you are asked about some physical stuff, material, well, you may say 5, 6, 7, 10, this percent, that percent, right? It will be finite at a certain point. So here, the world is our internal world that we create through Panchakanda. If you cannot understand that, if you want more explanation, then 12 ayatana. If you cannot understand that too, 18 elements. Where do this information come from? Dhatu Vibhanga Sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya, where Buddha talks about how to deconstruct internal world. Starting with Nama Rupa. If you cannot understand that, then Panchakanda. If you cannot understand that at that point, 12 ayatanas, 12 sense bases. If you want more explanations, 18 dhatus, elements. Chakku dhatu, Rupa dhatu, Chakku Vijñāna dhatu. Sota dhatu, Saddha dhatu, Sota Vijñāna dhatu. So this is how the Buddha explains internal world. He can explain in a simple way, he can explain in a little bit moderate way, he can explain in a very, very large, broader way. That's the world here. Now, Daruchiriya, when you understand your sensory experience of Sanya Vedana with regard to just perceiving that thing, then you will not identify them a lot. You will not cling to that. And without clinging here, hereafter, or in between, you be free from dukkha, suffering. And what happened to Bāhiya Daruchiriya in a moment of time? He accepted this teaching, he was happy. Then he walked away. In a moment of time, a female cow attacked him and he passed away. That's a different story. In my Pali class on Thursday, I shared this story with another couple of people. There were 4 people who associated a sex worker and gave money, and they were greedy about the money they gave to her, so they killed her. While she was being killed, she thought, one day I'm going to kill all of these 4 men in one attack. So he killed Tambadatika, one man, and he killed Bāhiya Daruchiriya. He killed Suppabuddha, I think somebody else. So there are 4 people were killed because of that lady's curse, and she wanted to kill. That's why it's very important to watch our thoughts, especially during the moment of our death. If we having that kind of a thought, it can happen. So Bāhiya Daruchiriya was in a way lucky, at least he could attain Nibbana. So then monks told the Buddha that Bāhiya Daruchiriya, who was here just a moment ago, was killed by that cow. So then the Buddha said, no, he's an Arahant. Although you see in the lay person cloth, he's an Arahant. You make a pagoda for him. You cremate, you place his ashes into a pagoda, he's an Arahant. Normally we know when someone, lay person becomes an Arahant, that lay person cannot wear the lay person clothes, right? Must wear the robes for that life. But he didn't get that chance. He had to die. So this is the story, right? So how did Bāhiya Daruchiriya manage to attain Nibbana? Because of Matta Meditation. Now I'm not saying that we have to practice it just before we dying one day. Don't take it that way. Bāhiya Daruchiriya went through that terrible experience because of a past karma. At least Buddha helped him, right? So for us, this is very helpful to understand what's happening now in our daily life and to calmly, peacefully, holistically respond to us and to other people and to minimize any hassles, problems, fights, arguments, and create more peace in your household, in your workplace, outside, everywhere. So this is the idea. The sutta is coming under Udāna Pali, Khuddaka Nikaya 1.10. So I would introduce Matta in 2 ways. Matta as a meditation, which you do today, and Matta as a lifestyle perspective, okay? As an ethical balance of lifestyle. So Matta, as you can see here, training the mind to simply know without judging or elaborating what is seen, heard, sensed, and thought. A direct, non-conceptual awareness that stills mental noise and brings calm clarity. This is what is happening to us when we do this as a meditation. Awareness. Second, Matta as a lifestyle perspective. How do I balance out my lifestyle with regard to how I eat, how I talk, how I do other things, how I engage in sports, how I engage in meditation, temple activities, how do you engage in your family life, your sensuality, all that. They are part of it. Then, are there any other suttas that support this Matta meditation idea? Yes, there are so many suttas. I'm going to pick up one sutta, AN 4.14, Anguttara Nikaya. There, Buddha is asking monks, actually this is a generic idea, Chakkuna rupang diswa na nimittak gahi hoti nanu byanjanak gahi. Pali statement. Don't worry if you don't know Pali, I will explain to you. When you see a sight with your eyes, you don't get caught up in the marks and features. What are they? Nimitta, marks. Anubhyanjana means features. Okay, perhaps now we are having the fire drill. Don't worry. Don't get panicked too. It might happen any time now. So nimitta means marks. Anubhyanjana means features. Now let's say I see that fan and nimitta. What are the marks of that nimitta of that fan? Right? And I see the usual fan. It's a wall fan. And then I see the marks from outside, the plastic and all that. And at the same time, do I see the features? Yeah, I do see the features. Those are under that particular fan. So normally, when I see something, when you see something, you see both nimitta and anubhyanjana, marks and features. Going back, when you see something, you will get into marks and features, but don't get caught up in any of those things. This is the idea, right? Normally we get caught up. Once we see the fan, we already get caught up in marks and features. We will take a moment of silence at this point. Yes.